Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. In this video, I will be going over the new 4K Ultra HD pre-orders for July 8th, 2022. Now keep in mind, release dates and technical specs are subject to change. If there are any changes or additional retailer exclusives, I will update them in a future video and the channel's community page. Speaking of the channel's community page, if you want direct links to any of these titles, check over there for individual listings. Also, be sure to check out my previous 4K pre-order videos for titles you may be looking for and were not covered here. On July 19th, the Bob's Burgers movie will be getting a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Now, Best Buy will have an exclusive Steelbook edition, and as of this recording, this is the only way you can buy this film on 4K. There's no standard release that has at least been announced here. It will support HDR and DTS 5.1 or 7.1 audio mix. No word yet if this will actually be in stores on release day, so if you want it for shipping, head on over to Best Buy's website and pre-order it now. On August 16th, Sony will be releasing a standard edition of Heavy Metal on 4K. The previous release was Steelbook only, and it should have the same technical specs, which means HDR and Dolby Vision, and a rockin' Dolby Atmos audio mix. I highly recommend you pick this one up, especially if you've been waiting for the standard release. The previous Best Buy exclusive Steelbook edition of Dirty Dancing now gets a standard release on August 23rd. It will have HDR and Dolby Vision as well as a Dolby Atmos audio mix. I have the Steelbook edition of this, and I gotta say, the Dolby Atmos really caught me off guard on how good it was, so if you're a fan of the film, the standard release is now currently available at your various online retailers. Lionsgate will have the Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook edition of Warrior available on August 30th. It will have the same technical specs as the previous slipcover release with HDR and a Dolby Atmos track. I will be picking this one up for myself. I don't have the previous version, so let me know in the comments if you plan on doing the same. September 6th will be a huge day for Star Trek fans. There's a lot coming out, so let's get started. First up, Star Trek the Motion Picture. The Director's Edition will be getting a 4K standalone release. It will have HDR and Dolby Vision as well as a Dolby Atmos audio mix. Now, from what I've been told, this will only have the Director's Edition cut on this particular disc. And the other 5 films of the original series cast are also getting single releases. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, will be arriving on September 6th. They will support HDR and Dolby Vision and a DTS 5.1. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, as well as Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, also seeing individual releases with the same specs. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, is also getting a single release and will contain both the theatrical and extended cuts of the film, both in 4K. Also on September 6th, we'll see Star Trek the Motion Picture, The Complete Adventure on 4K. Now, this is the only way you can get all 3 different cuts of Star Trek the Motion Picture in one set. It will have the theatrical cut, the Director's Edition, and the extended TV version. I'm seeing reports that this set will be very limited, so if you want it and all 3 versions of the film, pick this one up. It is currently up for pre-order over at Amazon and other online retailers. And lastly, on September 6th from Star Trek will be the Star Trek 6-movie collection on 4K. I have to say, this kind of sucks for people that bought the 1 through 4 collection last year. It's pretty unfortunate, but this option will be there for those that want the first 6 films in one collection. September 13th, we'll see the Steelbook edition of The Addams Family on 4K. It will have the same specs as the previous release, which had HDR and Dolby Vision and a DTS 5.1. This is a non-exclusive Steelbook, so feel free to order it at your various online retailers. Paramount will be releasing the 4K Ultra HD edition of Fatal Attraction on September 13th. It will have HDR as well as Dolby Vision and a DTS 5.1. This was a bit unexpected as a release, so I'll be looking forward to checking it out on September 13th. Shout Factory will have John Carpenter's The Fog arriving on 4K. It will reportedly support HDR as well as Dolby Vision and a Dolby Atmos track. I am a huge fan of this film. It's one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, and I'm anxiously looking forward to picking this one up on the 13th. On the same day, there will also be a non-exclusive Steelbook edition of the film available at your various online retailers. I think this will be the option I choose to go for. I have it on pre-order over at Amazon, and definitely check it out if you're a fan of The Fog. Shout Factory Select will be releasing Oliver Stone's Platoon for the first time on 4K. It will support HDR and Dolby Vision. Now, the audio specs have not officially been announced, but I kind of suspect we're going to see an Atmos upgrade here. This will be available on September 13th and is currently up for pre-order. On September 20th, we'll see the 4K Ultra HD release of Crawl. It will support HDR and a DTS 7.1. I don't expect to see an Atmos upgrade for this release, but I'm just glad it's finally arriving on 4K. Lionsgate will have the 4K Ultra HD release of Old Henry arriving on September 20th. It will have HDR and I suspect just the DTS 5.1 that's found on the Blu-ray release. I really enjoyed this movie and I will definitely be upgrading from my existing Blu-ray. Warner Brothers will have the animated feature Batman: The Long Halloween Deluxe Edition arriving on 4K Ultra HD. It will support HDR and a DTS 5.1 audio mix. This was previously released as two separate films on Blu-ray only, so the 4K edition is now going to be available. On September 27th, Sony will see the 4K release of I Know What You Did Last Summer arriving on the format. It will have HDR as well as Dolby Vision and an upgraded Dolby Atmos audio mix. This was a very welcome surprise. I always champion horror arriving on the 4K format, so definitely check this one out. The much anticipated Army of Darkness is finally arriving on 4K Ultra HD. It will reportedly support HDR and Dolby Vision, and the audio specs have not been announced, but once again, I suspect that an Atmos upgrade may be in store for this particular release. No official word if all the additional cuts will be in 4K or it's just going to be the theatrical version, but regardless, I'm very excited for this to arrive on 4K. There will also be a non-exclusive Steelbook edition of Army of Darkness on September 27th. I really dig the artwork for this one, but of course the standard edition using the theatrical poster art is also very cool. So either version will be available on the same day. September 27th will see the release of the Evil Dead remake from 2013 for the first time on 4K. It will support HDR and Dolby Vision, and the audio specs have not yet been announced. While I'm an absolute fan of The Evil Dead from director Sam Raimi, I still really enjoyed the remake and I'll definitely be checking this one out at the end of the month. The latest 4K re-release from Sony that supports Dolby Vision is going to be Bram Stoker's Dracula, arriving on October 4th. It will of course support HDR as well as the new Dolby Vision grading, and the previously released Dolby Atmos mix will also be included. The Steelbook edition is currently up for pre-order. It's non-exclusive to any retailer, so feel free to pick it up at your various online sources. And finally this week, Warner Brothers Animation will have Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons arriving on 4K Ultra HD. As per usual for DC animated films, it will support HDR and a DTS 5.1. This will arrive on October 18th. So those are the newest 4K Ultra HD pre-orders for July 8th, 2022. If you're interested in any of these titles, check the community page for individual links or head over to the link in the comments section. And if you use it, it really helps out the channel. And also let me know, what do you plan on picking up from this current list of pre-orders? In the meantime, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.